Welcome to Greg and Andy Unleashed. You guys already know our names, so there's no need to introduce ourselves. Guys, we are bringing you one final episode before the new year hits. So, we're going to have a bit of a chat about what we've learnt over the past year. Guys, bringing you a little bit of what we've got looking forward into the new year. And so we'll kick it off with checking in with Greg. Greg, how's your week been? Mate, one more day of work, is it?
Yeah, mate, one more day. I'm so keen.
Cheering,
so
mate.
ready for it. Yeah, it's been good, man. This year as a whole has been good. I've enjoyed it, man. So, what about you, bro? How's your year been?
Mate, bro, last day today, mate.
Your last day?
Work, so driving back tonight, tomorrow-ish.
Oh, to Sydney. Yeah, that's
so,
right.
yeah, I mean, tomorrow for all of those safe drivers out there. Tomorrow, obviously, I'm not driving tonight. So my driving is just, obviously safe driving. But, yeah, it was great. Finished it off today, last day. It was nice and cruisy.
Yeah.
Finished off.
It's always pretty chill on the last day, hey?
Oh, I mean, it was today because we finished nice and early. So
yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah.
Working with Pete, the legend.
Yeah,
When is he gonna come on here? Hopefully soon.
That's it.
To you, Pete. We're gonna get you on in the new year, mate.
Get him on, mate. Get him on.
That's it.
It's about time.
So it was really good. It's been a great experience working. I mean, obviously it's been mainly with John and Pete, but it's been obviously a great learning experience for me over the last month or so, and super excited to jump into it in 2024. Keep growing in that area, and overall, obviously keep growing up here at Brisbane, and heading down.
Actually, was this the year you kind of moved to Brisbane, sort of?
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
I lived in Sydney my whole life up till then. I was thinking I'll live in Brisbane for a couple months.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking I'll move to a couple different places, like live for a couple different months in a couple different places, just to get the different feeling of not living in my hometown. Everything's very familiar.
Yeah. How did you find that experience? Because did you always live in the same place up to that age?
So, I mean, I was living in different places in Sydney.
Right.
Like, I haven't always lived in the same house, but I was living in different places. Like, obviously, I first lived with my parents and then moved out, etc., etc. And obviously that's a different experience as well. But obviously being so close, I kid you not, I'd end up, I'd come to Bible study, I'd get food from my mum or my grandma. So shout out to my mum or my grandma for giving me food. It does obviously make it very easy for you because then you're not living at home, but
exactly.
you have a lot of those things that are
even better, bro.
Quite easy.
Yeah,
that it makes it quite easy for you. If you know what I'm saying. Whereas when you don't even live anywhere there, it's like you get home from work and you go, I have to cook food, I have to eat, I have to do this, right? So it's good. It's good learning experience.
Did you do your own laundry?
Why would I not do my own laundry?
I'm just saying, bro. I feel like...
wait, what else would you do? Take us to the laundromat?
No, take it to your parents' house, bro.
Oh,
get them to
over
clean.
there?
Yeah,
over
in there.
Sydney? Oh,
Yeah.
nah. This is wasted time.
Yeah, true.
True. I mean, that's honestly, washing is the one thing that I basically love doing. It's so
doing?
easy.
Yeah,
compared to cleaning.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
it is
washing's
easy.
the
I'm
best.
just chucking the washing machine. Yeah.
Anyways, so now that we've sorted out those issues, but it's been a great growing experience. Learning a lot here in Brisbane, and obviously main thing is growing. I think as a man, taking on a bit more responsibility, just learning these different things, which I think it's really good to when I moved out of the city that I was in. There were certain things that got highlighted that I really needed to work in.
Yeah.
Or I needed to figure out a way to do them right. Like, for example, the cooking or the cleaning or, all of these types of things, right? So it's really good because it actually highlights your inadequacies, which is a really good thing. So, it's been a fantastic year.
Yeah, what about the temptations of just worldly things? Because you don't have those direct people in your life. Did you find that was a bit of a struggle or not?
Yeah, well, it really, honestly... biggest thing in the world, you are the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so if you're going to spend the most time with people that live in the world, are partying, doing drinking, doing drugs, then you're probably going to turn out like them. If you're going to spend time with 5 people that are, serving God, that are, growing themselves as men or women, then you're probably going to turn into more like these people. And so especially when you don't live, with your family, then it just depends, who you either get to know first, right? Or else it's about who you spend the most time with, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously for me, I didn't really know a lot of people moving up here. So what I did is I actually jumped into, for example, church and made friends through church, right?
Yeah.
Which means that obviously majority of the people I'm spending time with have more of a desire to please God.
Actually, I got to interrupt there. So what are your thoughts on Good Shepherd as obviously people that listen to this might... A lot of people will be from the church. They want to hear about your first impression. What are your thoughts?
No, it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed coming here. One of the biggest things that I really enjoyed when I was living up here, right? And I came to the church. I was like, I'll just drop in because it's a bit closer than another one that I was trying to go to, which was a long way away. And there were so many people that came up and said hi to me, and which is just really such an amazing thing. And I know that from obviously with F45 and doing work like that, you being friendly to someone has one of the biggest impacts on them as a decider of whether they'll come back or not.
Yeah, so true.
So yeah, it was just everyone was super friendly and
That's awesome, bro.
I just was like, I obviously have grown a lot throughout the year in God and obviously in myself personally.
When you say that you grew in God, what do you mean by that specifically?
So what I mean by that is it's heart direction. So it doesn't mean necessarily that a lot changed on the outside, right? You can always act good or you can always act like a Christian, but it's when your heart is actually like you're longing for God, you're wanting to spend more time with God, you're actually wanting to be around God and His people and doing things that please Him versus just doing whatever. It's you have more of a real desire to actually be like, hey, more focused on, hey, this is what God wants from me or this is what God expects from my life. So I was a lot more focused on
career.
Well, yes, but also probably just more on, hey, what pleases me?
Right.
Rather than, hey, what actually pleases God in my life, that's basically. Awesome, so, that's probably one of the biggest changes. But honestly, it all comes down to, and this is I swear, who are we talking about this with? Was it you that was just saying before, the little things?
Yeah.
It's the little things. Yeah. It is so much the little things.
It's true, man.
Spending time with God each day is
it's a big one.
The number one thing of whether your relationship with God is going to go upwards or go downwards. Because I've heard this saying, right? You're never staying the same. You're always growing or falling back down.
Right.
I can't remember the exact words, but someone will know what it is. And I always thought, they're just trying to say that so that you actually start growing in God, right? So that you actually come to church and you read your Bible. But it's so true. It's true in basically every area of your life. For example, in fitness, you don't just stay stagnant. You either are actually getting better, you're getting fitter, or you're actually getting less fit.
It's true.
And it's basically very similar in all of life. Life is moving so fast now with technology and everything. For example, as a Sparky, right, or a Chippy, you're getting better. Or if you're staying stagnant because everyone's getting better and everyone's using let's say newer methods to do things and it's just the world is evolving to use that sense in technology, then you are by definition getting worse.
Yeah.
So
100%.
You're basically always getting better, getting worse, growing, shrinking, etc. And the same thing, obviously, with relationship with God.
Yeah,
you're growing, or you're just getting further away from Him.
Yeah,
so man,
that's good, bro.
Reading the Bible, spending time with God, talking to Him. There's nothing that really matters as much as that does. So
that's good, man. I think that's the same for me. And this year, just being able to grow closer to God and just really just sit down and just take a step back and think, what do you want in life? Because there's so much you can have in life, you know what I mean? There's so many things you can chase. There's so many things you can want. But I think that it's so important just to, just take a step back and really just think. Because, like, life is short, you know what I mean? Like, we're pretty young still, but, like, it's not going to be long before we're growing up, having a family, right? You know what I mean?
Growing up.
That's it, right? Somewhat mature, But, like, that's what I mean.
I
It's
don't know
like,
how many years that take.
might be a few more, but yeah. But it's true, like, you gotta think about what you want, and I think that, choosing God is very important, like, is what you need to do, And I think this year's especially taught me when it comes to, I got to do a mission trip to Fiji. I've been able to, like, plan for the trip to PNG for next year. Like, a lot of things I guess have been taught to be thankful for what I have, So many people in the world have got, like, so much worse off, and when you get stuck in the same routine and, like, every day is the same, and you're living in, like, in a beautiful country, you think, oh man, you can start to think like negatively about where you are, and then you just gotta remember, like, how many people have so much worse, So I think that's, for me, big takeaway from the year, and it's obviously gonna be hard to keep that mentality sometimes, but in general, like, that's what you gotta remember, someone's got it worse off, so.
Oh, 100%, eh? And going to, like, honestly, guys, anyone listening to this, go on a missions trip, or even if you just go for a standard trip to, like, a third world country, you will see...
Change your perspective.
It just changes your perspective. You'll see how much better off we have it than majority of the world. And it's a big eye-opener to actually be like, oh, I'm complaining because I actually have the ability to get up and go to work each day and earn money and live and pay rent, or to study or whatever, and it's like,
I think if all these, like, university, like, wokeism and all this, if they all went to a third world country, they'd have a few different outlooks, I think, because this whole, like, society of, like, being offended and stuff, it's just it's a joke if you really just take a step back and look at the big picture. In my opinion, like, seriously, there's so much more going on than just, like, there's so much you can be thankful for instead of, like. So anyways, but that's
100%. There's a lot people going through a lot harder things.
Yeah, exactly.
Than certain people's feelings that are getting hurt by some small issue.
Exactly.
There's these people, nowhere to sleep.
Can't even eat.
Just hardly have any food. Yeah. It's 100%. It's an eye opener. How privileged. We are in general in here in Australia.
100%.
It's pretty amazing, eh?
That's good. And then, in terms of the podcast, mate, what are your thoughts? Because I know for you guys listening, thank you if you've continued to listen up to this point. I know, we've tried to be pretty on top of getting out the videos in time. I think we've done it right for that this year. But I think as a whole, it's been interesting. Like, I don't know, the whole podcast thing has been interesting for me, at least. At the beginning, I sort of did it for jokes because I was like, I wasn't taking it too seriously, but now I can see now, it's like it is a tool, you know what I mean? It's a good tool to, like, especially for someone, like a random would just randomly find us. That'd be amazing if someone could somehow find us.
Through Nathan.
Through the fan page. That's it. But no, it'd be so cool if someone finds us and just gets encouraged, or, like, hears, about the gospel or something like that. That'd be amazing. And so that's for me. For going into next year, just keep going. Leave some suggestions in the comments too, I reckon, for what you want to see next year. Because for me, I just want to get some more guests on. Hopefully get some more people from church. Get some, like, as you were saying recently. You were saying you want to get some more what's it called? So, like, theme-based people, like people that have
professionals in, like, certain area, kind of thing. Yeah.
That way we can get some proper. Some, like, informative chat out,
help some people out with those things.
Yeah, so what ideas in terms of themes are you thinking of for that?
Yeah, man, that would be probably me putting my mic a bit further away from me. That would probably help everyone's ears. Yeah. Welcome to Greg and Andy Unleashed. Not set everyone's ears. That's something I could definitely try working on, being quieter, or just, like, put the mic away from me. So for ideas for the podcast, guys, drop us some comments about what you want to see on the podcast. As Greg said, we want to get some people from church, have a chat with them, etc. And obviously, probably just hopefully seeing our journey as well. we are on the same journey as everyone else. Like, and we're trying to grow, and we're trying to obviously grow in different areas. You know, reach out to other people, etc., etc. It'd be really cool to see, for us to be growing with you guys. And so, yeah, that's something that I'd obviously like to see. And just highlighting that growth and obviously God. So yeah, I honestly, you summed it up. I can't think of anything else on the top of my head for it.
Good, bro.
But
what about just in general this year? What were your thoughts on the podcast?
Oh right, yeah, from this year. Yeah, no, it's been really interesting. It's been good. It's actually we're talking before the podcast about some of the things we've learnt this year, and it's probably been one of the biggest things that I've started to just get a grasp for. It doesn't mean I totally understand it yet, but get a grasp for the topic of discipline and self-discipline. And that's where all of the fruit actually comes from, and where all of the benefits actually come from, being disciplined to do this. For example, being disciplined to be here to do a podcast, being disciplined to actually get up and go to work, being disciplined to, do my best at work, being disciplined to reach out to somebody, to help somebody else, being disciplined to, make money, to do this, to learn new things, to learn skills, super important. Actually, I've been reading through 1 Samuel, and I was thinking about David and like how the skills that he had, how God used him so greatly, but would God have used him if he didn't have those skills? Like, God still could have used him, but God used, for example, his skill in, with the sling. God used him, and I was reading how they were looking for someone to get for King Saul to play to play some music for him, and the guy, how he detailed David was amazing. It's in 1 Samuel 16, and how he just describes David, and this is when David's, let's say, like your age, my age, the description that he gave of David was unreal. Like, if you could just be that guy, that was like, wow, like it's amazing. And just like how he grew himself by spending time with God, talking to God, and being disciplined to take care of the sheep, to do this, to do that. So that was probably the biggest thing. Discipline, learnt from it. That's the biggest thing I think I've found.
It's good, bro.
Yeah, you had some. Did you want to share those verses,
bro?
I
was just gonna say, like, sometimes I was just thinking, and I feel like you can relate to this. When you like grow up in church, you hear so many sermons, but then there's always like one or two that will stick with you, and like you might not remember hardly anything else. But yeah, I was just thinking about them today, and I was like, man, it'd be cool to share them on the podcast. So these two sermons I heard when I was very young, probably like 12 or so, but for some reason, just keep sticking with me, and so I'll just kick it off. It won't take too long, but the first one was in Mark chapter 4, verses 35 to 38, I think. So it's talking about, obviously, when Jesus was on the water, and you remember when he was on the ship, and then the waves are coming, and he was having to sleep on the boat, and everyone was really scared, and like they think they're going to die. And I just remember hearing a message on this about how sometimes you're in a storm of life, and so I'll just read it from verses 35. And the same day, when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass over unto the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him, even as he was in the ship, and there were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And then the story continues with Jesus obviously waking up, and they're saying, Do you want us to die? And then he calms the water with his word. And obviously a crazy miracle, and it is pretty awesome if you're there probably on that day. But I think the main thing from that I took away that the preacher was saying was so cool to me was that in verse 36, like you hear this story so many times, but I never remember this part. It says, and there were also with him other little ships. And then for me, that was really encouraging, because it's like, man, you're going through this storm in life, and you think, man, no one else can understand my pain. No one else is going through what I'm going through. But if you read that book, these other little ships all around him were in the exact same storm. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And then, I never thought of that. I always thought it's just Jesus and these guys on the rocky waters, and they're all about to die. But man, there's other ships even smaller than their one on the water. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, so that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that was really encouraging to me, because I think maybe if you're going through something in your life and you think no one else can understand you. There's people out there, and so I'd say get behind people. And then the other scripture I had in my mind was from the story of the 5,000. And again, everyone's heard the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000, the two fishes, the 5 loaves, and so it was really this thought is really just a thought and perspective, because again, this is something I never really saw until this guy, I think it was Pastor Bax, he preached on this, and then it was really interesting. So it was in the book of Luke, the account of book chapter of Luke, sorry. It says, and the apostles, when they were returned, told him all they had done, and he took them and went aside privately into a desert place belonging to the city called Bethsaida. And the people, when they knew it, followed him and received them. So the people, as it said in the Bible, they went to a desert place. And so these people are starving, they're in a desert, and it just seems like very negative if you think about it. Like, they've gone to the desert, right? But then when you read this in the account of John, it says, let me find the verse, John chapter 6. Here we go. So this is when they're talking about what can we eat? There is a lad here which have 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes, but what are they among so many? And Jesus said, make the men sit down. And then this part is really interesting to me. Again, you probably wouldn't read this and think about it too much, but it says, now there was much grass in the place. And so, I mean, to me, that was really, really cool, because it's like, in Luke, it's saying they're in a desert. Here, in John, they're saying there's much grass. So it's like the contrast of how you outlook on things. That's what I take away from that. You know, and like, again, these big stories obviously have one general theme, you know, like, but then it's those little things that you sort of just read and you're like, wow, that's awesome. And again, I don't know why, I was just thinking today about messages I've heard when I was younger, and those 2 things really stuck with me. And so yeah, those two thoughts of there's always people that are going through the same thing as you, and don't ever think you're alone in the situation. Jesus is always with you. And then the second thought is your perspective. Like, you might be hungry and like you're starving out in the desert, but then you got to think about what you actually, again, like talking about Australia, like compared to Fiji or wherever you're going, you got to think about what your perspective actually is. It's like, this is actually green grass we're sitting on. It's not the desert. You know what I mean? And like that to me was really, really cool and like encouraging. You know, like, to think about it like that. So yeah.
That's so cool, man. Wow.
Yeah. But anyways, that was a bit of a...
That was good. No, 100%, bro. That was like, and it's so important, man. I think it's number one, the first one that you shared there. People think, hey, I'm going through this. No one else has ever gone through this. It's just me by myself. And a lot of the time, because there's so many other people that have been through it or are going through it. And it's like, yeah, we're all on the journey together. Like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. I've never noticed that either.
Yeah.
In the
exactly.
That's so cool, bro.
It's really cool.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
Guys, Merry Christmas from yesterday. So I hope everyone had a great Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Greg probably ate way too much.
Yeah.
Slept, had a quick nap in the afternoon. But yeah, we're going to close it out. Any final takeaways from the year, Greg?
Thank you so much for the support. It's been pretty fun. I've enjoyed it. And yeah, I just hope next year we're going to get bigger, better, probably get some new mics maybe.
Nah, go back to Kmart, buy some more. That's what we're looking forward to.
Yeah,
like,
just improving and everything. And you know, by the way, before I forget, I want to say congrats to Ray and Stat, mate. Have a chat. They got 1,000 subscribers, mate.
Yeah.
We haven't officially said congrats to them, so there you go. Congrats, Ray and Stat. I hope you watch this. This will be a test, mate. If they don't watch this, they'll never hear it, mate. So there you go.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. So that's
so cool.
Bro.
So again, that's another Christian podcast. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
And like,
it's just
good,
exciting.
Amazing to see growth, you know. And, you know, keep going, guys. Keep it up.
Yeah,
Ray and Stat. You guys are our inspiration, mate. Or are we theirs, mate? I think that's what it is, mate. I think that's what it is.
That's cool. All right, guys. Thanks again. We'll catch you on the next one. It's Greg and Andy Unleashed.